doing it today. Bottled it.
Come on. We're running out of pre-recorded ones.
Alright, right. Oh, I've done it.
Yes!
Done it. So I was going to do that. So are we on?
We're on.
Right, hello, this is episode 9.
Yes, 9.
Episode 9, and it's actually the first one I've done for a wee while, Kris, isn't it?
Aye, it's been...
Probably about 3 or 4 weeks, because we had a big backlog of them.
Aye, last one we had John, that must have been... Was it January we done that?
And this is February.
Aye, so it's
about
been
a month ago. January was only like a couple of days ago, really. But
aye, but like real podcasters are in the studio like a couple of times a week.
Aye, right, I know. I wait till we're getting like 10,000 views per episode and all that.
I feel
we are real podcasters, Kris. This is real.
Sorry, I meant full-time professional podcast.
No, that's where we are. You got to believe it. You got to believe that.
Right, that brings me on to my first point of the day. We need to do some on-camera mic training.
How? What do you mean?
I need you to try and keep your mouth within this.
All right,
Aye, see when I'm editing these.
See,
I'm all right with a wee comical away and shout for some effect, but most of your conversations have been like that when I'm editing, and it's like you're coming through my mic, and it's an annoying thing to try and edit. So
they bother. Is that better if writing like that? See, it's only episode 9, and I'm now getting bullied.
No.
I was bullying me.
No, see, other
Who
people.
do I speak to about this?
Viewers would start bullying you and harassing you for that being annoying.
No, this is like by back in the warehouse, people shouting at me, "You're not doing your job right. I'm doing my best."
Right, I mean, you're leaning over into the mic. You can just move the thing, and it'll come to you.
Can you not get an automatic mic that just follows my mouth?
We don't have the budget for that yet. One day.
So if you join our Patreon, so you can pay for something that does that.
Aye, we'll get there. Right.
Aye, I know you're right. Thanks for pointing out. It's let's see, now you're doing my workshop, and now people don't notice the microphone thing.
Aye, which
and this is quite new to me as well. So it's kind of a.
Aye, it is a different thing in this setting. You can be a bit more thingy with it in a live setting, especially in a small room. You can do rooms that you don't even particularly. I mean, there's people in the workshop that sometimes are barely going into the mic or whatever.
Aye,
but in the size of that room, you can still hear them.
Aye, but if you're doing a big room, you're kind of gubbed.
Aye. Which, you don't really think about when you're doing it, but if you're watching somebody, then you notice it.
Aye. So that it's just like when on doing stand up, I'm used to. I know exactly where the mic's meant to be. So see if I'm shouting, see if I'm at a gig where I'm actually shouting. You know, I was doing a gig in Nottingham a couple of weeks ago, and I had to shout because there was a guy being a bit of a heckly.
Right.
Had to do a bit of shouting, but when you're shouting, sometimes you step back a wee bit.
Aye.
You know, so it's not too loud. So you kind of intuitively do that.
Bill Burr's a good master of that, and he does like the odd wee thing where like he'll be in character and shout something, but he does it away from the mic.
Aye, so it's not too mental. Aye.
So now I'm just adjusting some settings here now that you're talking at a reasonable level.
It only took you 9 weeks to tell me this, Kris. Longer than that.
We have in fact discussed it off camera, but he's clearly not taking it on board, so I'm doing it on record.
Oh no, fucking bully me. See, the worst kind of bullying is doing it in front of people. You know what I mean? You're
all 6 viewers are going to hear this.
Why did you not take me aside and do this? You're making a fucking example of me in front of that 2 cunts are watching this.
No, now you'll remember.
I don't even watch this.
You don't actually?
I don't.
Sometimes
I do watch bits.
Sometimes, like the morning after it gets uploaded, I go on and I'm like, oh my god, it's got 3 views, and then I realise the night before I viewed it and then refreshed a couple of times just to check things.
Well, we're getting there.
No, we're actually doing no bad for
we're
views.
Right. It's consistency. Do you know I've had like, do you ever get negative people?
All the time.
Right, because I was talking about this, right, and I've got a pal, right, and I'm not going to, it's a pal, and you know these pals that are always into statistics and logical and like everything sensible.
Oh,
and so somebody said to me recently, I was saying like, what was I saying again? Something about podcasts. No, I put a thing up about the comedians, is social media more important than TV these days?
Mm-hmm.
You know, building an audience on social media is more important than TV. I just said that.
I remember seeing you posted that,
and I reckon it is because less people watch TV these days. That's all it is.
Yeah, and more people watch like this type podcast thing, or at least look at people's social media to kind of get their content. So even just a lot of stand up is just from TikTok clips and stuff now. Do you know what I mean? Guys like Paul Smith have got to the top of the game just from putting clips out.
Never been near TV, I don't think.
No, I think
Adam Rowe, there's a few other guys.
Well, he's done live at the Apollo, but most of what he's come up in the success has come, I think, from social media and podcasting.
Aye, well, there's have you seen Mark Simmons?
I think I know that name. Aye,
So he's a big tall ginger guy, right? And I talked to him doing again at the Edinburgh Festival. He's done Live at the Apollo, Mock the Week, stuff like that.
I'm sure I'd know the face if I saw it.
Aye, big tall ginger guy. He does like puns and all that. He'll ask the audience, what's your name?
Was it Mark Simmons?
Mark Simmons. He'll kind of make up jokes on the spot. He's quite good. He's got a good following.
Yeah, I recognise him.
So I was talking to him. I was doing the gig after him one year, and
I've seen quite a lot. You talk about you've got that bit that you do about Comedian Destroys Heckler. I've seen them of him. Videos of him that's like Comedian Destroys Heckler.
Aye. I'm actually taking piss out of hecklers.
Aye.
So he said that he's been on Mock the Week Live at the Apollo, and they says that made a difference to his career, but not huge.
Yeah.
It was the clips of Live at the Apollo and Mock the Week that then went on TikTok.
Aye, well, I've seen a lot of people. Big. That seems to be people are still going for Live at the Apollo, which used to be like the pinnacle of I've made it in comedy. But people want that now just to be able to put the clips out from it. That's how the game's kind of changed that way.
Because it was like Kevin Bridges, he went big maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or something like that.
It was McIntyre's Roadshow that kind of thingied him on it.
So McIntyre's Roadshow, and he got that last minute. It was obviously he was building up his career up to that point, but somebody dropped out that night.
I'm sure I read this in his book. I think he mentioned that. So
somebody dropped out. I'm not 100% sure it was. It might have been Craig Hill, but I couldn't guarantee that. So they dropped out. It was in Edinburgh. It was going to film the Playhouse, I think.
All right.
So Kevin Bridges kind of tried to come in and do your bit at Michael McIntyre's Roadshow. They went, fucking right, I do. And that 5-minute spot or whatever it was just changed his career.
Aye. Sorry, I'm paying attention. I'm just trying to sort this out.
Sorry. And so that was the one that just took him right up.
Yeah.
And there was same with Billy Connolly when he got on the Parkinson's show years ago. That was when there was only like 3 channels.
Aye.
So if you think about it, from Billy Connolly doing that was 3 channels, so they're going to get like 20 million viewers. To a few years ago, Kevin Bridges maybe gets, 8 million viewers. But now you're on Live at the Apollo. You're not getting anywhere near that now. No. So it's just different game. So what were we talking about there? So I was talking about somebody who was being like logical and so these cunts that everything's got to look at statistics and all that, which I get. So this person said, they messaged me, right, and it's a good pal, so I'm not going to mention who they are. And they went, podcasts are saturated now. Like everybody's doing a podcast. I went, but so what? It's like I think we're still at the very early ages of podcasts.
There was a wee bit of me when we started this, kind of maybe thought that, because in the last, I'm going to say 4 years, basically, a lot of comedians started their podcast in lockdown because it's all they could do.
But how many kept going with it though?
Well, that's it. I mean, obviously the good ones have sort of filtered their way through, and the shite ones have stopped. So
the statistic was, the person said, right, the person said, 90% of podcasts fail, or they do less than 20 and they give up. I says, well, and that's why they fail, because they do less than 20 and they give up.
Aye. See, I've seen other statistics that say
if you look at the ones that
7.
do one a week for a year, they're the ones that start taking off. So it's consistency that works.
Aye,
so instead of looking at the whole thing, saying podcasts don't, like majority of podcasts don't make it, look at the ones that do well and say, right, what do they do differently for the ones that aren't making it, and do that.
Because even if you start off within your first 20, or I've seen other statistics that say most fail before they get to like 7 or 8 episodes.
Aye.
But
we're at number 9, Kris!
Here we are. But a lot of those ones that get to whatever probably don't get big until after a while. Do you know what I mean? We're on 9 episodes. People might have watched a few and been like, it's not for me. But in 20 episodes' time, we might have, even in the ones we've done, we've got a bit more direction to it. We've got better at it, so that we can only keep improving.
And that's the thing. It's like, and the guy Russell Brunson, who I follow, he says, do something for a long time, find your voice. He says, people that do like YouTubers, a lot of them, like see these guys are getting millions of views every week.
Yeah.
A lot of them were shite. If you look at their first videos,
you like Mr. Beast?
You know
him?
I know. I don't know much about him, but he was probably shite when they started.
I remember seeing some of his early stuff, and he would do daft challenges, just like trying to stay awake for 24 hours. He'd just film himself doing shit like that, and
I just on his phone.
And like daft challenges like that, which never get many views, but that grew and into now he's like the most successful YouTuber.
I've only actually kind of seen bits of him recently.
Aye.
I've heard about him.
But you'll definitely have heard of him,
Aye.
And now he's got like all sorts of lines of like he's got restaurants and he's got chocolate bars you can buy on top of being like the most rich YouTube guy. So.
Aye.
But he could have like seen the comments on those early videos of doing daft wee challenges and been like, nobody likes this, I'll give up, and he would have never turned into what he is now. So.
Aye, because I've done it. I've done it myself. See, I used to do a lot of live videos on Facebook.
Aye, I remember seeing some of them.
And I need to do more. I need to get more into that again. And I would see myself. I'd be on the phone, kind of doing my live and talking. But you see the numbers.
I see like how many viewers you've got.
So you see, I've got 10 viewers. I'm like, fucking yes. Then you've got 9, or somebody hates me. 12, somebody likes me. Then 3 people leave. You're like, fucking cunts. It's like being at a gig. And like in my head, it was like a gig. I start off with a good crowd. People start leaving. They're like, oh no, they think I'm shite. See, it gets in your head, but it's about consistency. And what I like, one of my good philosophy I like. See if there's like 5. See at the moment. See if there's 5 people that enjoy this. There might be more. There might be less. But if there's 5 people that watch this every week, you're doing it for them.
Aye, that's it.
You're doing it for them, and that's the kind of people you want. And the more you do it, you get 6 of them, then you get 10 of them, and then you get 20, then you get 100.
Start spreading.
And it just takes time though. And it's one of these things that could take a year, and then somebody says, oh, this is a good podcast. Like somebody like say Stuart Lee could see it and go, these guys are good. And it just takes one guy going, look at watch this podcast, and all of a sudden it's.
So I've not like I check the statistics every so often of like how many viewers we get on the YouTube and listeners and all the audio stuff, and there is like I can't think of the number off the top of my head, but there's like a decent every week, decent number, and it shows you like your retention of like people that watched the last episode that came back to watch the next one, and that number is quite good.
Right, so the people come back, it tells you that. It tells you that on YouTube.
I can't remember if it was YouTube or the audio on Podbean that tells you that, but it's like we do have a decent audience that watch all of them. Right. What we do need is people to start like writing in, even just commenting on the videos or emailing obiepodcast@gmail.com. Even it doesn't even need to be I've been saying like write in with your list what you want to do. Even just like comment saying if you like the stuff, like the videos and that.
If you hate it,
tell
us that, because that's good for our self-esteem.
If you hate it, tell us why, and we'll try and improve it.
No, fuck them.
Okay.
If you write in and tell us why you don't like it, tell us to try and improve it. You work out how to improve yourself. You improve. Think about what you've done. What have you done? Have you ever done a podcast? A cunt. Sorry, Chris. Sorry.
You tell them.
I'll get it. I know what I mean. Fucking sitting in your pure in your pants in your mom's basement, fucking telling us we're shite. Fuck you. Sorry.
So what are we doing this week?
Social media. Social media is a monster these days, isn't it? Aye. So what are we going to do? So I've been doing. There's a camera over there. It's your camera. Is that?
You're on that one.
I'm on that one. So Kris has been doing like one of his fuckets the last few weeks.
I have.
So Kris has been doing my comedy workshop. So we've done how many weeks? 4 weeks? 3 weeks?
The 4th one's tomorrow, so we've done 3.
So we've done 3. So how have you found it, Kris?
Interesting.
Aye.
But I'm not going to say it's not what I was expecting, because I don't really know what I was expecting.
Aye, because you don't know what you're. What were you expecting and what you getting? Like, tell us.
I think I expected, and I don't really know why, because I know it's not like a stand-up course. It's a comedy workshop.
Aye.
So obviously, like quite a few of the people in the class are a bit more experienced. Or
right.
They've done the workshop before.
Aye.
Some of them have done the workshop before and been out gigging like mad.
Aye.
Some of them have done it before and not really done anything with it.
Aye, that annoys me.
Have come back.
That annoys me. I hate that when somebody's quite good and they do my workshop. Go, you've got a good 5, and then they don't the end way. I was like, fucking go and do some gigs, man.
Aye.
Annoys me.
So there's a bit of that, and then there's some other people that are like more in my boat that have never done any comedy. Oh dear. Never done any stand up at all. And never even done any like public speaking type thing. I think I've mentioned in the course, in the workshop, that that's one of my kind of, what's the word? One of the things I'm probably struggling with the most is just sort of the nerves of standing up and talking into a mic. Which is a bit odd. Like, as I said on an episode of this before, like I've been standing on stages and performing for years since I was like 5. But I've actually got a bit that I'm going to do tomorrow.
Right.
Talking about that and being like, I've been playing music and been on stage for years, which I'm fine with. That's my happy place. That's my comfort zone. But taking my guitar off me is like taking my pants down.
That's like comfort blanket.
So I was going to, like, one of the wee bits I want to bring to the workshop tomorrow is being like, I feel like having my guitar taken off me is like having my pants taken down. But I feel like if I was standing up here with my cock out, I might be getting more laughs.
That's all right.
Something along those lines.
Aye. A wee analogy there.
Aye.
Because it's true. It's totally true. It's I've always there's always because there's a bit of material that I've no wrote, but just sometimes you get reminded of bits that I had in my head years ago, but I never done anything with. So I'm the opposite of that. So I'm quite confident on stage with a microphone and like 100 people in the room.
Aye.
That's me, my confidence now. But that's just because I've done it for years. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking that I'm not confident in other areas. You know what I mean? So if I'm like say I'm talking to somebody I like, say if there's a female I like and I don't know what to do about it. So I'm thinking if I just got a microphone in front of me, so rather than just talking to somebody one-to-one, I've had a microphone, spoke to her as a stand-up comedian rather than just talking to somebody.
Aye, that would make you more comfortable to talk to them.
Or having to tell somebody that I think maybe if you were a stand-up, I think something nerve-wracking would be to tell somebody that somebody died.
Right.
But if I took the comedy persona,
aye, like as if there's a crowd, or if there's a crowd, be like,
so,
hands up if you've got a granny. Hey, you know anymore.
Hands up if you've not seen your granny for 2 weeks. Yay! That's because she's dead. Anyway, she died this morning with a heart attack. Da 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 da. Know what I mean? So it's definitely
there's something in there you could.
Aye. I
could
think
work
that,
as a bit.
Aye. Or even things like I'm like phone calls scare me.
I'm not good on the phone.
No.
Especially if it's just family or friends, it's all right. But see, when it comes to work, again, if it's my colleagues that I talk to all the time, it's all right. But see, if I need to phone a customer and be a bit professional about it, I'm shite.
Aye.
I don't know what it is. It's like, if I'm in their office talking to them, I'm fine. But there's just something about being over the phone it feels a bit formal when you need to put this persona on to be on the phone for some reason.
I need to be prepared for a phone call. I need somebody to message me on my phone and go, I'm going to phone you in 10 minutes. Is that all right? And I'll go,
I get that.
Right, I'm going to get myself in the zone here for a phone call.
Aye.
I go, hey, come on, you can do this. Go, hello.
Or see if you do have that, like somebody's like, I'm going to phone you at this time, and you're like counting down the seconds until then. See if they don't phone you then, and then every second that goes on past that, you're like, what's happened? It's going to be bad.
I know. That's weird, isn't it? So I'm more confident on stage than I am fucking phone calls. Phone calls are bad enough, but see when a fucking like a video call comes up, I'm like, get that to fuck. Like, message me, you weirdo. Somebody doing a video call when I'm fucking sitting in my pants in my house.
It is quite an aggressive move to video call somebody without like prior warning or organisation. It's not like a phone call.
No. No, I done a couple of video calls the other day, and I was doing some one-to-ones with the workshop class. But even that, I had to kind of be mentally prepared for it. I done a Zoom with somebody and a video call with 2 other people, and even that I was like, come on. But then once I was on, it was fine.
Aye, but it's funny because you're just having a conversation. Like if you would have had the same conversation with them in person, and it would have been no different. But there's a weird,
I don't know what it is,
difference when it's like through that thing. But
Humans
so
are
another
mad.
thing about the workshop, I mentioned it on week 1. So week 1 we did. Everyone had to get up on the stage. Like the very first task we did was just stand up. It doesn't need to be a bit of comedy you do because we've not all prepared bits or anything, but just stand up, give a brief introduction of yourself and just talk about something, and then you would maybe give us a wee prompt of like what's been annoying you this week. Maybe try and work out a wee something for that. So I think when we did that, I was one of the last up.
Aye.
And I was kind of feeling all right as we started, and then as everyone else went up and I saw them, I felt I was getting a bit more nervous.
Right. As it was waiting.
As it was coming towards me, I was like, and some people, especially the ones that were more experienced and had done a bit of comedy, that got up and actually did a bit.
Aye.
I was like, I'm not going to do that. I don't know what I'm going to say. And it got to me and I was all right. I did my wee introduction. I told that mad story about the pizza. Mind, I was in that restaurant and ordered a pizza, and she was like, No, you can't have a pizza because it's January.
Oh, aye, that was good.
That was like your wee thing when you were like, something that annoyed you this week. And again, I hadn't prepared anything, but that was literally something that happened the day before, and I thought it was quite funny. And even that could maybe turn into a bit for comedy, but...
See, that's it. I like putting people on the spot a wee bit, because it gets... I think a lot of my workshop is about getting people out of their comfort zone a wee bit.
Yeah. So we did that, and I was kind of nervous when I got up because I was towards the end of the group.
Aye.
Then the next task...
You were headlining, mate. You were headlining.
I don't think I was quite, but I was towards the end. And then the next thing we did was we'd all wrote down like a wee subject or something and put it in a hat, and we had to get up and pick something to talk about. And I was up quite early, if not first in that one. So part of me was like, oh, good, that doesn't give me time to get those nerves built up.
Aye.
And then I got up, did what I did again. I didn't really get much in terms of material, but I did whatever I did and it was all right. And then as everyone else went up and did their stuff, I was like, oh, fuck, I wish I was going next, because they've all gave me wee ideas.
Aye.
So that I've found in the 3 weeks that there's no good place to be, because I'm like, if I'm after a few people, I'll be nervous having seen them, but if I'm first, I'll be angry because everyone else going up before me gives me some ideas and some inspiration. So I haven't quite decided yet whether I like being up first or up near the end.
I'll put you on the middle the next time. So
I think even last time I was maybe near the middle, and then I just had a bit of both.
Aye.
But
that's a weird thing, isn't it? Because you go on first, you don't think you're prepared, but then you get out of the way. You're on last.
I feel like if I was on later, I'd be like, oh, I could have done better because they gave me that wee idea. I could have took that. But if I did do it later, I would be more nervous because I just get in my own head as everyone's coming up. I think the one we did last week, I tried a wee bit of the kind of visualization stuff that we did. We've talked about it on here before, but we did it in the workshop as well. Just picturing yourself in what you would consider your comfort zone or a happy place, somewhere that you feel confident and stuff.
Where's your happy place, Chris?
Which weirdly, I was picturing myself being on stage, but I had my guitar and I was like doing a gig.
Right.
I don't think I quite got into that. I was also trying just as Murray was on before me and he was finishing up and we were talking about his stuff, I was just trying to get a bit of Wim Hof type breathing going to get myself. I don't know if everybody noticed me in the corner doing it.
Why is Chris heavy breathing in the corner? Why is Chris sitting in the bath of ice before he goes on stage?
Don't mind me, folks, with my hose coming down through the toilet. I've tried a wee bit of that, and again, I felt like last week was the first time that we were actually trying a wee bit of material that we'd prepared, and it went all right. But it's like the comment on what I did was like, it was some good stuff. You just basically ran through it in about 2 minutes.
Aye.
And I think that was just the nerves. Like I'd had it in my head and I'd kind of gone through it a few times through the week and on the way there that day. But the nerves just kind of got me going fast, and I missed a few wee bits, and like what I felt was going to be like maybe a 3 or 4 minute bit ended up being 2.5 minutes. So that's something I need to work on, and that's obviously what the workshop's about, getting up there and learning that and working on it. So
that's why I do my best to get people on as often as possible, because you learn that. You learn more, because it was like the guys that were talking about the workshops you done at the Edinburgh Festival, where it was like 2 days of theory.
And you've never been on a stage.
You've never been on a stage. You go, right, now you've got a gig. Well, fuck off.
I think that's mad. I couldn't do it if it was that way. Like I'm still a bit shaky just now thinking about the gig that's at the end of this, but I know I'll certainly be more comfortable with it then than I am now, because that's what we're working towards. But if I did that course expecting to get a bit of experience, and all it is sort of theory on writing jokes,
and then you're on stage.
Aye.
Yeah, because I try and do like kind of intermittent theory as I go. So I try and do it as I go.
You do you'll maybe do a bit at the start, and we'll do like, we're going to try this week. But then as everyone comes off and does their bits, you sort of give them feedback and also bits of theory that apply to that and to everything else. So you sort of, as you say, spread it out within the whole thing,
I kind of like. I have got a structure, but I kind of try to do it the way that a lot of comedians that don't do workshops learn stand up. They kind of learn as they go.
Yeah.
So I'm getting people up and goes, right, see that bit you did, like think of this. Things like one of the biggest things is timing. It's like when you tell a joke, if somebody tells a joke, get a laugh. Mm-hmm. If they're nervous, they keep speaking over the laugh, and that's huge.
Yeah. You need to let it just sit for a bit.
And so if I say to something to you, it was funny, but then I started speaking right away, it stops you from laughing.
Yeah.
And you can train an audience to not laugh.
Aye, because you might have got laughs if you'd done that properly. But you know, if you've told a few and then talked over the audience reacting to it, they'll be like, "I'll just no bother."
Aye. See, I've seen comedians going on and they're doing a type 5, and I've heard somebody saying these words, starting off brilliantly, and getting big long laughs and saying, stop laughing, I've only got 5 minutes.
Aye.
Just do less, you prick. Just do less.
Actually, if you were good, you need less material because you fill up your 5 with laughter.
Aye, see if you could do like 3 minutes of good material and 2 minutes of solid laughter. That's phenomenal.
That's the dream.
Aye. You know, there was a night in Edinburgh years ago. It was a late night gig. It was a bastard of a slot. And it was like at 11:30 at night in the Beehive, right? So it was 1 year ago. And it was just this one night. And it was one night. I mean, a lot of my shows in Edinburgh I'll kind of riff a wee bit. I've got material and I'll do improv and stuff. But there was one night, somebody in the audience, I can't remember what they said, they heckled me. And it was like a bit of interaction. Yeah. But this person in the audience made me piss myself. And I was pissing myself for like 10 minutes.
Aye.
Like genuinely, I couldn't stop laughing for 10 minutes.
That was probably quite infectious and the whole room were the same.
But I was laughing at them. So it was like, it wasn't just me laughing. It was like everybody was laughing. What one person said, there was an interaction that happened.
See, I'd be quite happy to be at a show like that and just have a mad laugh. Whereas somebody else might have like tried to shut that down and been like, no, you're no fucking making people laugh. That's my job.
Aye. And it was just brilliant. It was just one of the 40 people in that room just pissing themselves. And I was like, you can't beat this. I was like, fuck them. I think I cut loads of material just because of that. And why would I not?
I went to a Red Raw years and years ago in Glasgow at the stand, and there was a wee guy on. I can't remember his name. I don't know if he's still going. Obviously, Red Raw.
Well, if you describe him, I might know of him.
It was that long ago, I can't even remember. He was like a wee... I think I would describe him as looking like a young Paul McDaniels.
Maybe, was it not Paul McDaniels years ago or not?
This must have been about 6 years ago. But
so
no,
definitely wasn't Paul McDaniels, no?
No, he was definitely like I would have said this wee guy was like in his early 20s.
Right.
So... But he did
a baldy guy?
Aye.
Right.
But he did 5 minutes on Subway. And basically his thing was just listing all the Subway ingredients, like all the things you can get on. He listed all the breads, all the meats. And he didn't just get up and read that, he'd worked it into a joke.
Right.
And there was this big fat woman sitting behind me who was obviously a fan of Subway. And she laughed so loud at like him, however he'd worked the Subway menu into this joke. And it was really good and I really enjoyed it. But the main... Like, this woman was laughing so loud that everyone else started laughing at her to the point that he couldn't even get through listing the rest of the salad options because the laughing was so loud and he started laughing at her. And it was a bit like what you're saying, the whole thing just became about laughing at this woman. But it was also half that and half watching him struggle his way through trying to keep listing things as salad when he couldn't get it out because this woman's going so loud. But that's behind like that. But
that's not a bad problem we have.
But I probably wouldn't remember that if he would just... If that audience reaction hadn't happened, if we just got up and said, a fun wee set where he'd managed to work the Subway menu, and I'd be like, that's quite funny, but I'd probably never remember it. But that's why I remember that.
Aye, because it's the emotion you remember.
Aye, that's it.
That's how I remember that gig. It was just I was crying with laughter.
Yeah,
and it wasn't because of my stand up. It was just because of the whole room. It was just a good dynamic. It's just it's madness, and it's like it's hard to teach that kind of stuff. Like
I don't even know if you can. I think it's just a natural thing that comes. You can obviously teach, as you're saying, if there's a laugh, don't just talk over it and let it breathe and be a bit more natural. But
it's like I think I try and like there's the kind of logical how jokes work, the theory. Yeah. Like there's definitely structure to comedy, but sometimes you get somebody and you go, there's nothing I can teach that guy but he's funny as fuck. Like Kenny, right? See Kenny?
Yeah.
He's ridiculous. He's funny as fuck. And see if I can arrange him in to do like a type 5, it wouldn't be as funny.
No, because it's not even
his... He just goes off on a tangent and...
It's not his jokes that make him funny.
Aye.
It's just him. And a lot of what I like about him is if you put him on late, he'll do daft wee callbacks to stuff everyone else has said.
Aye.
Which I'm looking forward to seeing it in more of a setting outside of the workshop and an actual show.
Because he did that on the gig, because he done my last workshop or 2 workshops ago, I think. And like I put him on later on because I just know. I mean, I can't imagine somebody that's funny, naturally funny, and you try and rein them in to be like structurally funny.
You kill them.
That. You kill the.
I'm sorry if you're watching, Ken. I didn't mean your jokes aren't funny. I just meant that's
not. No, he's funny. He's funny. And there's just people like that like see guys like there's like Phil K. So I couldn't imagine him like coming into Comedy Now trying to do a type 5. Do you know who Phil K is? Or
I think I know the name. In fact, I saw you mention him on that other podcast that you cheated on me with this week. I watched it the other day.
We watched it go, you bastard! What have they two got? Have they got?
That's exactly it.
Kris, they were younger than you. So, what were they? Well, one of them was?
23 or something.
One was, not I. Oh, so, I'm sorry, Kris. But you've not been treating me well. Like see the way you started there, you were bullying me. Put your mouth closer to the thing.
And now every time you do that, it goes too loud. You need
does it? Right, sorry.
You might even be a tad too close now. You want to be sort of.
All right.
You want to be like maybe a fist.
A fist. Well, he's fucking telling me closer to the thing. Now he's talking about fisting. Right. So Phil K, like he was like a maverick. And Johnny Vegas. Do you ever see Johnny Vegas' stuff?
I don't actually know if I know he's obviously a stand-up, but I think I've seen him more on TV stuff.
Aye, but you should watch. There's a video, like a movie that he made called "I've Got Ice Cream,"
right?
And it's phenomenal. It's like again, the idea behind it is like Johnny Vegas is because he becomes famous, like a celebrity, like doing all the talk shows and all that. He does movies and does kind of, and so this wee movie starts off. It's actually directed by Stuart Lee. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So it starts off, he's at a gig, dying in his hole, deliberately, but he's dying in his arse, people walk out, and then he gets kidnapped.
Right.
So people kidnap and take him to the Edinburgh Festival to do shitholes.
Right.
And it's just brilliant. So they want to break him, because the idea is he's got too big, he's too rich, his life's too comfortable.
Right. What's it called again?
It's called I've Got Ice Cream. It's phenomenal. And they take him back to Edinburgh, they bully him, and basically he sponsors an ice cream van. And it's got a wee story behind it. But like there's loads of his stand-up in the stand. Wee clips his stand-up, and it's phenomenal. Just him riffing.
Like actual footage from real sets?
It's the footage.
Right.
And it's just, he's mental. And the stories I've heard from him, he used to perform in Glasgow years ago before it got big.
Right.
So it was before I started.
I think I have heard like other comedians on podcasts talking about him and how he was sort of mental back in the day.
Aye, and he can never do like a type 5.
Aye, he's a very much kind of what's going on in the room and might do.
Aye, and it's just like imagine that guy like I'm keeping a workshop and I tried to rein him in to do like a type 5 and it's like nah, that guy's a different monster.
Aye,
he's like a I don't know. He's just like him, like guys like him, Phil K. Oh, I can't even think of it anymore. These guys are just off tangents.
I know you mentioned on that podcast as well, Raymond Mearns in that sense.
Aye.
Because he's very...
Aye, Raymond Mearns as well. You ever seen him?
I've seen him at the stand a couple of times.
He's phenomenal. The best you'll ever see him, it's in the stand, you'll maybe see him more kind of structured, but if you see him doing a solo show...
I've never seen him, so I've only seen him at the stand, and I think I've only ever seen him when he's comparing, so it is all just very talking to people.
So comparing, he's good at comparing, but if you see a solo show, the Edinburgh Fair, if he's probably, he'll be doing a show, he'll be doing a show in the Glasgow Comedy Festival.
He is, but it's he's doing it the day I'm going to Altitude, so I can't go.
Right, okay, aye.
I think I was actually planning to see him at Edinburgh this year, and obviously he ended up not doing it. I couldn't do it.
He took a wee stroke last week, but he's all right now. He's all right. So
I've seen him I've seen his new podcast as well with Stuart.
Mitchell, she's got Glasgow, so that's doing pretty well.
I've been enjoying that. Doing better than us, unfortunately, even though we launched at the same time.
That's all right, because the thing is, he's already got a big following.
Aye.
Stuart's got a big following as well, so that helps.
Need to get him on here to talk about it, and then it'll boost our numbers.
I'll get him on. I done a podcast with him online last year.
Aye.
So I got on quite well with Raymond, so I'll try and get him on.
Aye, that'd be good.
Get the Glasgow on. But he's maybe too big now. He would do it on well with Raymond.
Aye, no, that'd be good. I wasn't that familiar with Stuart. Is it Stuart Mitchell?
Stuart Mitchell, aye.
I'd seen some of his wee clips and stuff, but it was mainly from the clips that they started putting out of that.
Aye.
Of the wee Glasgow sketches.
He's a good stand-up, aye.
He was on Some Laugh a wee while ago, just as this podcast was coming out, and he was talking about just his sort of not process, but how he writes his material, and he like writes like speeches for like professional like CEOs and stuff of companies if they're going to stand up and like speak at conferences.
Aye, I'm sure he done the best man speeches for people as well.
Aye, he was talking about that as well. So I just found it was quite interesting.
Aye, I saw that there's a difference. Like Stuart is probably like a very good writer,
They were talking about that.
And
about
then
how
Raymond's like a mat, like he's not a writer, but he's like.
Aye, they were kind of talking about how they're opposites that way. Like Stuart, when we were talking earlier about the sort of theory of writing a joke, he's very good at that side of it, whereas Raymond's more of the naturally funny character type of guy. But that's obviously very good on there. You get that kind of contrast between them. Even though Raymond's sort of in character for this podcast to an extent.
Kind of. It's like, I mean, he knows everything. He fucking knows things, man. He's got knowledge on everything. He reads.
Aye.
I can't read.
You can't read.
That's on my bucket list.
I think it was on mine, was it not? I said I want to read more books, and you said, which to be fair, I haven't started yet. But
I've been listening to more audiobooks.
Aye. Well, I'm counting that in my. If I listen to audiobooks, I'm counting that as I've read that book.
So do you do that when you're driving? Because you had to drive down south last week, didn't you?
I've been working away all week this week, but no, it was pretty much just podcasts I listened to all week.
What ones?
Just my usual daft comedies. You have a word, you're some laugh. What else? Your Daniel Sloss and Kai Humphries one.
All right, I've never listened to that. Is that quite good?
It's good. It's called Sloss and Humphries on the Road. So a lot of it's when they're away touring together. Like set up their stuff just in a hotel room,
together,
and they talk about what they're doing, sort of as they're travelling around the world. But even now, I think Daniel's got a room a bit like this in his garden, which is what they kind of set up as their home studio.
Copying bastards.
I think actually I've copied him, but
fair enough.
They answered one of my questions the other day. They've got they're obviously going to Altitude Festival as well, so I'd put in. It's kind of because of them that I've booked to go to this, because I've been listening to them talk about it for years. So
social media works then.
Well, that's it. I commented, or I sent them a question on their Patreon thing. They did a Q&A episode, and I was like, right, I've booked to come to Altitude, but I've kind of forgot to learn to ski again. I used to ski years ago, but I was like, since I booked it, I've been meaning to do it, and I've not. So you get anything else you recommend to do in Meyerhofen, which is the town in Austria that it's in. And I was like, because I forgot to learn to ski. And they did give a few recommendations. They've also got like a swear jar on the podcast, but it's not for when you swear, it's when you say something like problematic for the sake of being funny. You know what I mean? So like when I said I forgot to learn to ski, Daniel Sloss was like, if you want to learn to ski, you should like go to a glory hole and get shagged up the arse, because skiing's for gay people. So for the sake of saying something that's like offensive or out of order, for the sake of being funny, they'll be like, I know that was thingy, I'll put a 5 in.
Where does the money go to?
They donate it to charity when they fill up the jar.
All right. That's clever. That's clever. You can't cancel us because everyone was saying it's horrible.
That's the plan.
That's a fucking loophole, isn't it?
Aye. So
that's a loophole to
they did like a sort of refresh of their podcast a few months ago, because originally all their Patreon money went to funding Daniel's stag do.
Aye.
So it paid for like them and all their pals to go to Vegas.
Aye.
But now that's all in the past. So they spent the money like doing up their studio.
Aye.
Getting new cameras, getting like they've kind of decorated the room and all that. And they and since they started that, I think that was only in maybe December or so, is when they've started this wee refresh of the podcast, and they started this swear jar. Now, I've not actually watched the video to see how big the jar is, but they've already filled it up once, and then they've started on the second go.
Well, we filled our jar up. We've got a jar full of
Christmas sweeties.
Cunts, full of vaginas. Oh, see, I tried to date there. I didn't work, did it?
No, you need to say something far more problematic than that on that podcast.
So what happens is if we send bad, we take a sweetie out.
I put them all out here so that when people are over, they eat all the shit in the house that I don't want to eat.
All right, so is this how you're out of date sweeties I'm eating?
No, that's like stuff I got for Christmas and stuff, but I don't want to eat them because I'm trying to be good.
I know, so bad, mate. I put on a wee bit of, do you know, like, I know I started that warehouse job a few months ago.
Yeah.
Which I'll probably leave soon. 2 weeks left, I think I'm going to leave, because fuck that shit. I thought working in a warehouse, well, I was doing 5 days a week, I'm down to 3. I would lose weight. I've actually put weight on.
I remember that was one of the only things that I missed about when I left working in warehouses, because like I would look at my steps in that.
Aye.
And I can't remember what it was like in the warehouse we worked in, but when I worked in Asda, I'm sure it was like 17 miles a day that I would walk up and down the place. It's mad. So that was like one of the things I missed from doing that job, was the exercise that you just get from it. Because now I drive. Do we keep talking?
Talking over each other.
I know I just drive for like 6, 8, sometimes more hours a day. I get to wherever I'm going, do the job when I'm on my feet for however long, probably not that long, and most of my shifts are just spent driving. So it's like the opposite now.
I'm on a wee truck now. You ever drive the wee trucks with the cages in the back?
I've not drove them, but I remember seeing them in the warehouses.
So I'm doing that. There's still loads of lifting, so it's loads of exercise.
Aye.
But I've done it for 2 months now. 2 weeks left. I've got to tell them tomorrow on Monday. Stick your job up your arse, it's shite. And I've actually put weight on. Not much. And I think the reason I put weight on, because I'm getting up at 6 in the morning. So like I'm starting at 6 in the morning.
Right.
But there's a garage called Peggy White's out their new house. And in the morning, in the way in, I get a rolling square or a rolling bacon or something like that. So I think I'm eating more because I'm up longer.
Aye, I suppose.
So something like that. So I'm eating more shite because I'm working.
I was, when we worked in the warehouse, for whatever reason, every day I would just bring in a tin of chicken soup. Some days I'd be like, I'm going to switch it up today and have tomato. And then I'd have it and I'd be like, no, I want to go back to my chicken. I got quite autistic that way when we worked in the warehouse. You know what it's like? It was just like a mad routine that I got myself in, and I was like, right, lunchtime, that means chicken soup. Couldn't have anything else. Like some guys was like walk down to the old inns at
I used to go there.
the cafe and stuff. I'd be like, nope, I've got my lunch that I have every day, and that's that.
Your own wee spoon and that, or did you have to use your spoon?
Oh, we need to touch a warehouse spoon.
Did you bring your own spoon on?
Aye.
Oh, did I do that? No, I was always there. I just stuck a big toffee in my mouth.
Some good audio content there.
I was minging that. Somebody will switch off because of that.
That's like, mate, we had to discuss that last week at the workshop with Murray because he had chewing gum and he was like talking into the mic with chewing gum. And I'd obviously noticed it every time he'd been up, but I didn't want to say anything. But then when we were giving him feedback for that last one and somebody mentioned it, and then everyone else was just like, yes, you need to stop that. So I think everyone had been the same as me, just like, I can't mention that, but it's really annoying.
Sometimes in the workshop, sometimes in the workshop, like I don't like being a dick to people. I need to be honest with people sometimes.
Aye.
I sometimes find that hard. So when Murray was doing that, I was like, because I got on real, I had to say, I was like, fucking go to take the chewing gum out for fuck's sake. But I don't. You want to try and encourage people.
Aye, but you put it in such a way that you were like, if you get chewing gum in or something, is that what that is? And then as soon as you said that, everyone was like, aye, we've noticed.
So they stopped that. I was like, because Murray's funny as fuck, but it's just.
Aye, stuff's good. It's just quite distracting when you're trying to enjoy what he's saying.
Aye. I mean, when I started doing stand up, I would used to play with my nipples for a tent. No, I didn't really.
Was that distracting for the audience? Was it?
Scratch my wallet. But your stuff's good, but you're playing your nipples and your cocks out when they stop. I didn't do that. So I think we're not going to do.
We're going to get back to workshop stuff.
Aye.
I mean, we're at like 40 odd minutes, but you know.
That doesn't matter. That's all right. That's what this is about. So what else? Tell me your material, Kris. What was your material? We're going to do that. We're going to do like because I've done a few 1-to-1s, and I didn't do one with Kris.
So we've got the bits that I did.
He went to huff at me because I was cheating on him. Did another podcast.
No, it's just I went and did work. Unfortunately, away. Right. So the bits that I did last week that are maybe a bit of a starting point.
Aye.
So I did the bit about going to see my gran. It's going to be funny, actually, if she ever watches this.
Just because you've got a grand, mine's is deed.
Sorry. If she ever watches this would be quite funny, that I'm going to talk about her hurting my feelings. It's her birthday today, actually.
Happy birthday, Chris's granny. Well, no the date. Well, by the time you see this, it'll be too late.
Aye, I hope she doesn't see this. So I did the wee bit about going to see her. I've kind of added to my notes on this since we did it last week. So I did the bit about like, I think I was like, is anyone's granny just make mad comments that are, hurt your feelings? And I did a wee story about like going to see my gran for the first time in a few weeks after Christmas because I've been dead busy. And the first thing she said to me was, she just kind of looked me up and down and she was like, time to get back to the gym.
Cheeky cunt, man.
Which in her head, I don't know if that's like a genuine concern for me or if it's a genuine, you're looking fat.
Aye, parents are like that.
Because that's where it comes from, clearly. She's clearly looked at me, so I've got a bit of weight on and thought that's the polite way of saying you're looking fat. Do you know what I mean? She's like, have you not had time to get to the gym?
Fella.
And she knows fine well I've not had time to get to the gym because my work's been mad.
What age is your granny?
I should know that, shouldn't I? Like 77, 78.
Aye.
Late 70s.
Well, my dad's age, so he's similar.
See the same, just
aye,
all these comments about what you would think they would know as like your mad insecurities, but
aye,
like,
aye.
Like what's an example of what your dad would say along those lines?
Fucking hell, man! Now you're getting into deep-rooted therapy.
This is what podcasting's about. This is what the people want.
They want to see breakdowns and shit, man.
I want you to start crying in this so I can clip it and put it out. This is going on
He's
TikTok.
never approved of me. So I don't know, just wee things like fucking all cunt. Right, sorry. So wee things like I remember like when we started doing this podcast and I was like telling them I'm doing it, and I was quite excited.
Yeah.
And we, I don't know if it's passive aggressive or like that. And what are you hoping to get out of this? I'm going, fuck you, just it's wee things like that. It just doesn't understand that like being creative is like your goal. So doing this now is like a goal. You've reached a goal.
Yeah.
It's like, as we said before, it's a wee bits on the way. And if it gets to where you want to go, good. If it doesn't, you've enjoyed the journey.
Aye.
And I remember years ago. I've always been quite delusional, but in a good way.
Aye, in the way that like what you do, like
Aye,
you do your comedy, and
aye,
as you've said it before, like sometimes you might end up in a bit of a rut and you might be skint, and
Aye.
you sometimes need to go and do a wee warehouse job for a bit.
aye.
But you do that because you love it.
Because I love it. So there was like years ago, and I remember this. Wee things that annoyed me. 2012, 2011, I was working in the co-op full time.
Yep.
Where I'm just now, just for a few months. And they were moving premises. They gave you an option. Do you want redundancy? Or do you want to move? And I went, fucking give me the money. It was like
Oh, you said this before, didn't you? When
deal or no deal.
when they offered other folk a job for life if they moved to the new place.
I got a cold sweat, that word.
Aye, job for life.
And I just went, I panicked, man. And even recently, now I'm back there for a few months.
Yeah.
There probably 2 weeks left, I think. I actually decided the day I'm leaving in 2 weeks. And so I was doing the picking job, which you've done before, but it's on the trucks, so slightly different. And I got put into like the different area to work the different bit for a wee while. And the manager says, "Oh, like it's good that you're doing this. You got another boat of your, what is that, tie to your bow? What's the word? What's the fucking boat of your belt, or fucking a belt to your belly end or something? No, you got another bit.
Another
boat
badge,
of your
badge to your breast. I don't know.
you know the one I'm trying to say, don't you?
One of these daft wee analogies.
Another boat of your belt or a boat of your cock or something. I don't know what it is. So he said, "Oh, that's another wee bit you've got." And if there's any so I'm just agency now. That's all I want.
Yeah.
So if there's any full-time jobs going, you'll be first to get in. I was like, I'm going to stop you right there, mate. Don't ever fucking say that to me again. Fucking.
It's like you've just said to him, if I ever see you again, you'll be the first to be getting kicked.
So this is what happened 11 years ago. 2011. I took my redundancy. It was $7,000. It wasn't a lot of money. It was all right for a few months.
Aye.
That year I done the Edinburgh Festival, had a great time. And then I met somebody at the Edinburgh Festival who says, "Oh, do you want to come and do Melbourne next year?"
Mm-hmm.
And I went, "Fucking right, I do." Aye. So it was like the Melbourne Comedy Festival. And I went, right, okay, I'm doing it. So I decided there, it was like a fuck it, right? This is how a real fuck it worked. So he says, "Did I tell you this before?"
I think you did this on the episode of Your Fuck It List.
Oh, right.
Was this when you ended up that guy was going to sort your flights to Australia?
So I did
and all
mention that. So that's one of the, you could put a note to the other episode for that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I decided I was going. I couldn't afford to go, but I eventually got the money to go, right? But one of the points on the way was I tried to get a job in the Devereux in Moodiesburn.
Aye, we talked about that because my grandpa worked there.
So the sausage skin factory.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my dad, I went for a job in the sausage. They went, "Oh, that's brilliant. You get in there, that's a job for life." I was like, "Fuck off."
Aye.
It was just to get a job for a few months to pay for flights and stuff. So anyway, that's another thing he said. So
I think my grandparents are quite similar in that way of like, it's like, we want to see you do well, but their idea of doing well is getting a fucking cushy job that'll do you till you're retired and depressed.
Aye, we only want what's good for you. I'm like, fuck you.
It's like my job the last few months, and then particularly even in the last few weeks, has been mad stressful. But they would rather.
It's a good job, Chris.
That's it. They'd rather see me stay and do that till the day I die than like go off and take a risk and do something creative.
Aye.
Which they're like, "Oh, we enjoy you doing your music and stuff. You're always dead good at it." But I don't think they would like to see me like do that as a like take the chance and do that as my full time thing.
But is your dad quite positive with things like that though? He's into all that stuff, so is he quite more?
And he has done that. Like the grandparents I'm talking about here are the other on my mum's side, whereas on my dad's they are a bit. The grandparents on that side are a bit more sort of supportive. They're a bit younger.
Right, you're on your mom's side.
on my dad's side are younger.
All right, okay.
There's still a wee bit of that traditional grandparent. Like when they have heard about the podcast stuff, they're a bit more down with their social media and they've seen it type stuff.
Aye.
But like when I first spoke to them about it, my granny was like, "Is there any money in that?" And I don't think she meant it as a sort of, "Why are you doing that if you're not getting paid?" I think it was more of just of a general, "What's that all about?" Because she doesn't know about podcasting. And I was like, I mean, not to start with, but eventually it can turn into something if you get a bit of an audience behind it.
Aye.
So they were a wee bit more thingy about it.
It's a long-term project thing, isn't it?
Aye, but like my dad's, like he has got his own business and he's done that thing and taken the risk and got rid of, you know, a I'm not going to say necessarily cushy job, but just a job that was
a job for life.
That's it. He kind of gave that up to chase his own dream and do his own thing, and that's cool. Whereas on my other side, it's more of a traditional, everyone's got their job they stick to till they retire.
Oh, I fucking hell, man. Job for life, man. Like this, I know people that they get people of, and this scares the shit out of me. Straight out of school at 16, got a job, and they've stayed in the same job for their whole life.
Aye, and people see that as a pure achievement.
Aye,
it's like they've never experienced it. They've come out of being in one routine of school.
Aye.
One day they had their summer holiday, even or sometimes even started the job like the day they walked out of school. And then they do that till they're in their 60s and retire.
Fuck that, man.
That's no life.
Oh, I'm getting anxious thinking about that, man. And
so that's all started from me talking about a joke that I want to try and develop.
All right. and it's like, I'll go back to that with that, right? So it's like, because I've had like 35 jobs at least. I counted one, it's probably closer to 40.
Yeah.
35 jobs. And people with a traditional mindset would say, "Oh, can you fucking keep a job?" That's how they would see it.
Yeah.
Whereas I would say, I can't take, if I don't like something, I'm off.
Aye, which is absolutely fair. Aye, so we were talking about this wee joke where I'm like, where my gran says, "Have you not been to the gym?" And then I kind of take it in the direction of, actually, I've been doing quite well and I've lost a few pounds just for watching my eating and stuff.
Aye.
And then I think that I wrote down a wee bit about, like, I was comparing it to like so I said, like, "You've just pressed the big red launch button to arm the missiles of a panic attack, so get that fucking biscuit tin open." Something along those lines.
All right. Because you're stressed, you want to fill the hole of where love should be with biscuits.
Yes.
Something like that.
But I kind of did a very abridged version of that, which again, I probably skipped over quite a lot of it as I was saying because I was just a bit nervous standing up.
See, that's the point of doing it more and more though, because you got me going, right, I forgot that bit, you do it again.
Aye, so I've kind of worked on that a wee bit more, and then some of the guys gave us a bit of feedback. I think it was Aves.
Aye, he's got a good brain for comedy.
Aye, so he'd sort of talked about doing the comparison of, before you get into your granny saying something horrible, build up the idea of the traditional idea of a granny being like a wee sweet lady.
All right.
So I'd said something about, like, wrote something down about, like, when you think of grans, you think of a wee sweet lady that like to like sit doing their knitting with a wee cup of tea, and they maybe give you like a wee sweetie or some amazing biscuits. Those kind of biscuits that you never see in the shops anymore, but grannies somehow get a hold of them.
In the granny's cupboard. My granny had one of them years ago.
Aye. Something building up a wee thing like that before you then go in with the fucking gut punch of the horrible thing.
So granny, how you do, you fat cunt.
So I'm trying to work on a wee comparison like that, something like that, as I say about the one I've wrote down being like grannies somehow have access to biscuits that were discontinued in the 70s.
Aye.
Something like that.
And thinking, is there a name of a biscuit that disappeared?
I mean,
maybe Google that. It'd be hard to come up with. There's custard creams, but they still exist.
Discontinued British biscuits.
This will bring up memories. They'll go, "Oh, I want a packet of them." Blue Band.
I still get them.
Did you still get them?
Aye.
Bourbon creams.
You still get
There's pink wafers. Pink wafers my granny used to have.
This is saying you don't get echoes anymore, I thought you still get echoes.
You don't get echoes. You don't get echoes anymore. You don't get echoes anymore.
Or a taxi. Just
you don't get echoes anymore. You don't get echoes. You see what I did there?
Aye. Let me play with this.
You don't get echoes anymore.
Say it again.
You don't get echoes anymore. You don't get echoes anymore. You don't get echoes anymore.
Right. Right. I'm trying to work on a joke here. Come on.
You don't get echoes.
A drifter. Remember a drifter? Apparently not.
No way.
See, I don't know.
They were like tastier Twixies.
A bit chewier as well.
Aye, they were like.
Maybe that's just because my gran kept them in the fridge.
So it was either depending on your people either thought they were like cheap Twixies, but I thought they were better than Twixies.
Oh, was that how they were perceived?
Aye, were they not in a double packet like Twixies?
I think so. But when you say cheaper, were they like seen as like a working class Twix?
No, well, I didn't. I thought they were better, but maybe some people saw them as. How, like, if you're watching this, how did you perceive the drifter? Were they like either shite Twixies or better Twixies?
Or a Dream? There's a good one. I know that's not a biscuit. That's just a chocolate bar.
Oh, aye, they're good, man.
It's just white chocolate. Cadbury's white chocolate.
Do they not exist anymore?
No, they've been away for a while,
man. I'm going to leave this podcast mourning.
Right, I'm going to just take a note of a few of these. So, like, surely you still get a Time Out.
Surely they exist.
Time Out wafer.
They don't exist anymore.
Well, I mean, it's come up when I've said. Apparently, it's on this article that says discontinued British snacks. This is. Oh, do you remember Dairy Milk Tasters? The wee packet of Boz.
Packet of what?
Wee chocolate Boz.
Oh, aye, they were good. They don't exist either.
No, or Mars Planets. That was a good time.
Oh man.
Right, we've gone astray from the subject here.
This is the worst day of my life.
So maybe I could move the thing away from biscuits and just say treats, and we could put some of those in, like a Dream or Mars Planets, and be like, if you go into my granny's house now, you'll still get a bag of Mars Planets somehow. She's got contacts.
See that's a good that would work because people like references. People like to be triggered by memories.
Aye, and I think this is especially something like that with snacks that people maybe haven't thought about. Be like, you can still get a Milky Way crispy roll in my grand's house, although I think they are back.
See that gets an audience interest. That stuff.
So they'd be like, oh my god, I remember them. I used to love them.
Do you know how that? Who was it? Who was the guy? Stutz. Who's the guy you could have referenced me to a few weeks ago? A comedian. He's quite the American guy. He sold out. World sold out.
Shane Gillis.
No, and he's very good at local references. Was it Stutz or something like that, or Krutz? Or
Andrew Schultz.
Andrew Schultz, because he's very good at. Because I seen him. Like, he did a gig in Glasgow, they just referenced something.
Yeah, and then just after that, he was on Have a Word, and I'm not going to say what he said.
I know what he said. As soon as I made it.
But he was talking about what people in Glasgow say when they're saying, I'm going for a Chinese.
I'm going for a Chinese. And just the way he said it. And
even just hearing an American say, I'm going for a
hat. So,
no, we don't do
and that works well because there's a reference. People hear something they know about. Go, fucking hell, like me say that.
Aye. But hearing it from his sort of outside perspective, being like, that's fucking mad that you say that. And you're like, aye, it is.
Aye. But you see him doing gigs in different countries.
Aye, I've
seen
seen clips.
referencing stuff.
I saw clips like from when he did Manchester, and he had loads of local stuff about there. So I think he prepares something for it, like everywhere he goes.
Phenomenal. And he done one. I think when he done one in a Muslim country somewhere, and he referenced the different types of Muslim they get or something. It was just very specific stuff.
So he's obviously like done his research.
Aye, but the crowd loved it. He was like, these kind of Muslims are
because you probably wouldn't expect that if you've seen an American comic in some country like that. You would expect them just to do the stuff that you've seen him do on YouTube and his own stuff, but to put that sort of research and stuff into it is really cool.
Aye. Just referencing, and you see.
So I'm going to put a lot of research into what chocolate Scottish people miss.
Aye. I'm gutted there's some of them that don't exist anymore.
Tutti Fruities, they're away.
Oh, fuck that. Kris, this is like... this isn't the worst. So
surely you still get a breakaway.
They don't exist either.
Sky News here. Nestle axing breakaway biscuits after 54 years on British shelves. Fucking hell.
So this is.
I'm sorry to have announced.
So you started off bullying me with the microphone. Now you're psychologically.
Oh, here's one, and I don't know how big this is. Do you remember Mingles?
Mingles?
Aye. It was like a box of chocolates you'd get at Christmas, like your celebrations and your heroes, but it was all minty ones.
Vaguely. Show me a picture.
Yeah, just getting them. I hope I've like triggered a memory in somebody's mind watching. That was my favourite chocolate at Christmas.
I think so.
I'll put it up on the screen here.
They were alright.
Oh, I loved them.
Aye.
Especially that one. See the dark chocolate full of the cream, like after it.
Aye.
Oh, what a time.
They were alright.
That one was good as well, a truffle. See I'm angry at the celebrations as well, getting rid of like your Galaxy truffle and they've brought Twix in as well. I don't mind a Twix, but I'd call it more of a biscuit than a chocolate.
Aye. Twix is only the best, are they? They're alright. Not as good as Drifters. Bring back the Twix. No, bring back Drifters. Get rid of Twixes. See, like fucking bullying us all day.
Try to bring some character to the podcast. This can be the dynamic.
No, fuck your dynamic. Your Doug's a dick and all.
That's not my Doug.
Whose Doug is it? Ainsley's dad's Doug.
Well, she's the one that's here now, and she did like you. It was her mum's dog that was here a few weeks ago, and she hated you.
I just like to. I like to say that every now and again to offend somebody. Says your dog's a dick.
No, these dogs are
I love dogs. I remember there was a guy who came to see me in Edinburgh. A guy that I know, a pal. He's a magician guy, and he was showing me pictures of his dog. and I love dogs. I just like saying I don't really like him. It was a bit of an ugly dog. And he didn't want to talk to me after that. I was really kidding. I fucking love dogs. Like I wouldn't say that about somebody's girlfriend or their husband or anything like that.
What if they were being a dick though?
If they were being a dick, that's different. Aye. Your
Right,
dogs.
so-
That's one of the ugliest dogs I've ever seen. I would get that put down.
So, sorry, I'm still researching snacks here to put in for this reference. Apparently, timeouts are gone. That's one that's
Fucking
going to
hell,
be,
man.
because I did used to get timeouts at my grand's all the time.
So if anybody out there works in Nestle, fucking sort yourself out, man.
Well, it's Cadbury. The timeout was Cadbury, so
Cadbury's.
they need to sort it. Nestle, what did they get rid of? The breakaway.
Breakaway.
And who did the Echo?
Who did the Echo? Who did the Echo?
I'm not pushing the button again, but right. So I'm going to put timeout, Echo, and what was the Mars Delight? Do you remember that?
No, really, no.
It was like you will know when you see it. They were about a Mars.
So
Delight.
see part of your...
I realise this isn't the kind of research that we're trying to be
No,
doing here.
no, but...
That was a Mars Delight. Remember them? Make it big.
Aye. So see part of your material, see how material works sometimes. Like see when we are just chatting here, but just talking about it, because we're chatting, it triggers things.
Yeah.
So you might now, like, so see when I start a bit of material, it could be about one subject, and then it triggers a whole different thing. So you could be talking about your granny having these biscuits, then going off on a mad tangent about all the biscuits that are discontinued.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
Could,
So
I know I'm finding these now to put in this story, but that could turn into its whole own bit.
Aye, so what you could do is you talk to your gran being a bully, and then you expect her to have all the biscuits, then have all the biscuits, then you go off on a 2-minute tangent about biscuits, but then the call back, going, oh fuck, I was talking about my racist granny again or something.
Aye, you can make it look like that's just made you go off on this whole other thing, and they'll be
so-
like, what was I saying? Oh, aye, my gran.
So that's what Billy Connolly was brilliant at doing.
Yeah.
So he started a story, then he'd go off on a mad tangent.
Aye, even I saw him live quite a few years ago
Oh,
now.
did you? Aye, brilliant, aye.
It was amazing, but he is like a champion of making that look like that's just genuinely him waffling on and then being like, what the fuck was I talking about? Oh, aye, back to this. But he goes on for maybe 15 odd minutes to whatever else he's doing and then brings it
And you
back.
get a huge laugh just by doing that.
But it does make it look very natural. Like I remember when I saw that, easily believing like he's just went off on that and genuinely can't remember. He's obviously got it rehearsed and knows it exactly. But
the thing with Billy Connolly, like, apparently he didn't really kind of a lot of his stuff was kind of done on the spot, but he'd done it that many times it changed.
Aye, because I think when I saw him on,
So he does the right word. He does write it down.
aye. See, I'm finding as I'm writing all this stuff, I do need to be writing it down.
Right. Okay.
And even certain wee phrases that I'm putting in. See, just like in terms of your gran saying something, I've put like, do you never find that grans hit out with pure gut wrenching comments loaded with harsh truths about your deepest insecurities? That's what I've written because I think it's quite funny to get that specific down to the words you're using. So like stuff like that. I'm not doing like a whole script I'm going to learn, but wee phrases like that I want to learn.
That's good. Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
Because there is comedians that have got every word specifically written down. That they've got everything word for word. And if they're good at delivering it, like I think Stuart Lee's probably like that.
Aye, I suppose. But it's, I like it if you can do that, but make it sound natural and not like you're just memorising something. And as you've said before, I can't remember if it was on here or if it was at the workshop, that doing that can make you a bit more susceptible to not react to something in the room.
Aye.
There could be something dead obvious that everyone notices, and if you just don't and keep going on, it makes you seem like you're just performing a thing, whereas it's much better for a comedian to point something out if somebody's, whatever it is.
Because I've seen comedians...
I'd like to apologise for the cold, by the way. I can see my breath, but the heater was making a mad noise that we can't have.
I know, that's why I've still got my jacket on today. I've got a shirt on today because I've got a gig tonight. So I could tell right away, like, see, rehearsing for a gig is... I don't do that really.
I've found myself doing it a wee bit.
But
just like in the shower, I'll just think of something. Like, see the thing I said earlier about having my guitar taken off me feels like as I've had my trousers down and I've got my cock out. That came to me in the shower. Maybe because I had my cock out.
I'd hope you had your cock out in the shower.
I did die.
But see,
he hopes I've got my cock out.
So see, I could tell if somebody's been rehearsing in front of a mirror for hours and hours. I've seen people come go like, I know my set inside out. I've been rehearsing in front of the mirrors for days on end. And I go, I know you have, because you were robotic as fuck.
Aye.
And
it's like in school when you've had to do a solo talk.
Aye, and it just sounds shite, you know. Whereas I think rehearsing, try and do it. I was talking to somebody recently about this. They try and do it and imagine an audience doing different things. So they'll actually visualise an audience and they'll have cunts in the audience. So they're actually performing in front of people.
Yeah.
But they visualise it, there's people, and imagine what's happening in it.
Yeah.
So they could rehearse it. So this day I'm going to have a rowdy audience. You know, so somebody's been heckling me. You know what I mean? So they do it, they rehearse in different kind of
it's just so you're ready for anything type thing. Which obviously the main way of doing that is just gigging as much as you can and getting that experience. You might have a very well behaved audience that sit all nice and quiet, they laugh when they're meant to, but you might get fucking mental ones that sit and talk as you're doing it, or they're getting up and down and walking in front of you all the time, all this kind of stuff.
And if you've rehearsed it like 100% a specific way in front of a mirror, you don't see that. You've just got it in your head.
And then if there's some distraction, you either end up stopping to react to that and you've lost where you are and you're fucking lost, or you ignore it and everything seems a bit weird because like surely he needs to mention that person's just had a heart attack on the floor and he's still reading that script in his head.
There's somebody having a heart attack. Aye.
So
that's fascinating. So that's how I can have bullet points.
Is that like how you memorise a whole set? Just with sort of bullet points in your head, you're like, right, so I've got this wee starting point. I know you've got all sorts of your techniques for memorising stuff anyway, but do you do it by just sort of putting a bullet point on a bit and then you just know what comes after that?
Kind of, but sometimes I change it.
I know your stand-up's very sort of all over the place in terms of you've got your bits, but a lot of it's kind of crowd work, reacting to stuff in the room, but you tie that in with it.
So say I'm doing an hour in the Edinburgh Festival, I'll try and do as much crowd work as I can.
Yeah.
But then say I speak to somebody that triggers off something.
That could end up just being the hour.
I know, but I mean, if I'm talking to you in the audience and you say something that triggers off a 5-minute bit of material. I'll just talk, do the bit of material as if I'm just chatting and people don't realise it's a bit of material.
Yeah.
So some of it'll be improvised, some of it'll be bits of material.
You can make your material sound very authentically, like I've just thought of this.
I
think Raymond Mearns is very good at that as well.
Oh, he's brilliant.
As you were saying, he's very well read and he knows loads about obscene amounts of stuff. So you could mention something to him that you would think surely you can't know something about that, but he's got a whole thing about it.
So the thing is, Raymond, he has got bits, but a lot of it is improvised. So it's like a lot of it's like fucking hell. He does a whole bit on somebody watching, like if I said I work in a sausage skin factory, he'd have a whole bit on that. I would make up a whole bit on it, but he connects people in the audience as well.
Right.
So he'll maybe talk to one person, triggers off a bit, and then he'll talk to somebody else, and then he'll end up doing a callback to that guy.
I think I
connect people in the audience.
I'm sure the last time I saw him, there was a group of dentists that were out on a night out. I think one of them was being a bit of a dick and trying to heckle, and as Raymond obviously would, he was putting them down and being great about it. But then there was somebody else that I can't remember how, but he was like, whatever they were talking about, it came back to like, you need to go and see these dentist cunts for your teeth. Like, he does wee things like that.
Aye. It's just, I think that just takes years of experience, being comfortable. It's like, I think getting good at stand-up's just being comfortable as fuck on stage.
So that's
just being like, I fucking belong here.
That's it. And that's kind of the bit that, as I said, I'm struggling with. But I find it dead strange that I'm struggling with it because I feel so comfortable on stage.
With guitar?
Musically.
So
I'm trying to make that connection of being like, why can I quite happily do this? I can stand and talk to an audience as well. Like if I'm in between songs, I can maybe have a wee bit of banter and stuff. Which there's physically no difference apart from the lack of guitar. No. So I don't want to go up and hold a guitar. That'd be quite weird if I just went up with a guitar as if I'm going to sing, but don't and just do my stand-up. It's like you said you wanted to do the busking. With all your chainsaws and stuff, but don't do it, just stand there with all that.
I'd love that. That's on my bucket list. I need to do that. Use that camera to film it. I just turn up and just get on my gear, gather a crowd, go, ladies and gentlemen, I've got no idea what to do with any of this shit. This is just a fucking list.
You just come on stage with a guitar and be like, my gran says mean things to me.
You could do that. Just come on and go like that. Like,
That could be like a wee funny gag.
Aye. Just spend like a minute tuning the guitar, and then just do your full set. And go, by the way, like I'm a singer. I'm quite comfortable on stage, but when I came to do stand up, I shit myself. So I decided to bring my guitar, not actually use it, just to feel comfortable.
I mean, if it comes to that, I might need to for the gig, but I'm hoping to get it out of myself in the next 4 weeks.
I think that'd be funny. I think that'd be funhy.
Maybe one day, but no, I really do need to work on just getting myself comfortable on stage.
You know what it is, like, it's about, right, so when you're sitting there, you're quite comfortable doing this, aren't you, talking to me?
Aye.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that means it's the audience that's the problem, and that's what's making me nervous.
Aye. So
there's obviously people watching this, they're just not physically here.
So there's a couple of examples I might have mentioned before. Like, there was a wee taxi driver who done my workshop last year.
Oh, was he the problematic guy?
No. There was another guy. And he was... And when he was on stage, he was a bit kind of nervous, but he was a bit of a loudmouth, but in a good way. Like, when he was off stage, it was like, but then, so do you know where the bar is? He used to stand next to the bar. That was his kind of place. He stand, he wouldn't sit down.
Right.
I think he had a sore back or something, but he'd stand there. He'd walk on stage, do his bit. But then, so when he was on stage, it was a bit kind of know him. It wasn't really. It was kind of nervous version of him.
Yeah.
But then he'd walk like 4 yards to the bar and still standing, and say things that were funny. And I was like, right, do you know what? Right, you're standing over there with the microphone. You lose something, but then you've only moved 4 yards. You're still standing.
Aye.
You're still talking to this audience, and you're being funny. What's the difference?
I just need to figure out how to bring that to the stage.
So that's
just kind of what I've been thinking. I know you've said that before, and I think you gave a couple of other examples.
Aye.
Last week. So I'm aware of that. I just need to try and figure out
totally,
how to do it. Do you know what I mean?
It's logically, it makes sense, but subconsciously, it's kind of.
It's
maybe
there's
a lot of things I know. There's a lot of things I know logically, logically about how confidence works.
Yeah.
But then it's still getting it in your subconscious mind.
Aye.
You know what I mean? It's like learning the guitar. You can know how to do it, but you're jittery.
Aye, but you know, I remember like when first learning to play guitar, it's like you need to think about every chord change, and this finger needs to move from there to there, and that one to there. Whereas now I can do that without thinking. Right?
Aye.
So
I'm a bit like that with stand up now. I can just go up and do my thing.
Aye.
Whereas I'm going to learn. We need to do that as well. I'll be learning the guitar. What the fuck's that bit? And it'll take me. My brain only quite connect yet. It'll take a while before I actually get it all together.
Aye. But the thing is, it's like we're learning. I think the scary thing for me is you can do that bit of learning guitar and learning all sorts of skills in privacy in your own home.
Aye.
Whereas to learn being confident in front of people on stage, you need to get on stage in front of people.
Aye. So it's also learning. It's not just learning the how to say it. It's learning to deal with the fear. It's like that's a big thing. It's like, how do you deal with the fear? And that's a big thing. Yeah. It's like learning not to give a fuck what people think.
Yeah, I do think
that's even a skill in itself.
Even in the 3 weeks so far of the workshop, I feel like I've got slightly better and very slightly more comfortable on stage. Like the first time, again, because I didn't have anything prepared, which I know was still the idea of it. Then when we started doing the stuff, like you get a wee subject and try and talk about it. Whatever I got, I was struggling to make something of it.
Aye.
And there's other guys like Grant.
Aye.
Bearded Grant, not Farmer Grant.
Right, aye.
He was kind of similar.
Aye. He's
got that sort of awkwardness of, I don't know what to say here, but him sort of standing there silently trying to figure it out in his head, he made it funny. I don't know if he made it funny or it just was funny.
It was funny, aye. But because he was talking about your thought process.
Aye.
Sometimes talking about your thought process, I'm nervous. I don't know what to do, and I'm just going to...
Aye. So he kind of worked that, and it was enjoyable to watch. Whereas in my head, I was just fucking panicking, like fucking say something. And then the more I panicked about it, the more I was like, I need to fucking get off here. I either need to figure out something to say to get myself out of this, or go a fight or flight, quite literally.
Totally, aye.
And I don't ever see myself going for the flight option.
Aye.
I'll always try and work my way through it and get where I'm trying to go. But it was just a bit fucking mad in my head. It's but there's a few people like that, like the same way. Theo the first week was trying mad to not just leave the stage.
Aye.
And they eventually did. Eventually managed to get up last week.
Had a good wee set together.
Aye. So that was really good to see, and I kind of felt the same. Like I remember when I got off last week and did after I did these two wee bits, the bit about my gran and then the the Blackpool bit that we'll maybe talk about in a minute. Like, I was sort of glad to get it done, glad I'd done it. Knew that I'd missed out some bits, but then when I sat down, I was even like a wee bit shaky.
Aye.
So I know I need to get it out of me, but
I'll be fine. The only way to deal with it is doing a few gigs. That's all you can do.
Aye. Do you think it's easier in the context of there's going to be people in that gig just there for a laugh of a gig?
Totally.
Because there's
doing it in front of a class is harder than doing it in front of an actual audience.
Yeah, because I know you get some laughs here and there at the class.
Aye.
But
people are more thinking and learning with that.
Aye. But obviously that's kind of the point. You're trying to analyse what they're saying and give them ideas on how to improve it or whatever.
But on the night,
I'm not saying we're standing there telling jokes, getting no laughs, but I feel like it'll be a lot more of a laugh.
Aye,
in the context just of an audience.
I'm bearing in mind I've got a gig tonight, so
it's 6:30.
6:30, right? So that you leave shortly. So
I know what it's. We're over an hour anyway.
Aye. I usually just because I've got a gig, I should be there at like 7:30, 7:45. So just
you're fine.
Be fine. Loads of time in Glasgow. I've got a car. I was going to. I'll do that. So what else have you learned?
What today?
Aye. Did you just fart there?
No, that was my move.
There's I heard a noise behind you as well.
Is it this seat? Oh, I know it doesn't squeak. Right, well, I'm happy at least to have got the examples of discontinued British snacks, which I can maybe, as you said, turn that into its own wee thing. I can be like, it's funny, you can get these things at your gran's, like you get these that you don't get anymore, and then just from that go on the wee tangent of, do you know what else you don't get? Like, I've not seen these in ages, and then why would they get rid of this? And that can turn into whatever.
Even can I then go, oh shit, I forgot I was talking, my granny's a cunt or some stain. So you could go on that, the tangent, all you need is one wee brief mention.
Just to bridge into that, a wee segue or whatever.
Aye.
So I'll try and work that in.
Which might work. And that, that's how kind of stand-up works. All that came for you is just having a chat about it, and you're not thinking about it too much. So sometimes, if you're sitting down with a bit of paper trying to come up with that, it doesn't happen.
Aye.
If you're sitting actually going, just talking shite, and then you go, oh, fuck, what if you done that and actually spoke about all these biscuits?
There's been quite a few examples of that already in the workshop where somebody's gone up, tried a bit, and somebody goes, what if you try this? Or here's another redirection you could take that.
Aye.
And it's turned into something more or better.
Aye, there was what was her name? Northern Irish. Bernie, she done the bit about losing her accent. They might have turned into a bit picking up different accents.
Aye, and then we had the whole conversation about what accents are you allowed to do.
I can't do that one, lad. That's racist, that one. So aye. So it's just chatting about it. Go, all right, that might work a bit differently. Aye, and that's how I like doing it, is get people up as much as possible, because you discover things as you're doing it.
No, I do enjoy that aspect of it.
Aye.
Do you want to look at my other bit, or do you want to save that for another episode? Hopefully we can record another one this week.
Let's do another one this week. But we'll come back. We'll talk about that.
Obviously, we've got the workshop tomorrow, so we'll come back from that with a bit more, and we'll see if what that bit we've talked about with the gran has developed or turned into anything else. That'll be good.
And will we record your set for the podcast when we do it
from the gig?
Aye.
We'll record it, and then I'll decide after, depending how it went, whether it goes out.
So we'll record these. Mine, I've still got to do my own mic gig, so we've still got to sort that.
Right, we'll do that.
We'll sort that out soon. Right?
Again, you've got the luxury of being able to rehearse for that without an audience.
I still need an audience, though, man. Well, I suppose I need to learn the song first.
But I mean, I think that's the bit of comedy that's scaring me, that it's hard to rehearse without an audience.
Right. Do you think it's easier for me? Do you think it's easier for me going for stand up to singing a song than it is other way about? Or do you think going for singing to doing stand up's harder? I think your way is probably harder. But I can't sing. But
yeah, I think music, there is to an extent, there's just a way that you can learn you can learn how to play that song, and that's that. Whereas you can't learn to be funny.
But still performing the song, though, you know what I mean?
Well, that is a whole other thing. Like, that's the difference of like whether I was just learning to write jokes or not comparing to write a song. Do you know what I mean? Because that's a whole thing that even I'm not very good at.
I think musicians as well, though. So you probably found this as a new music when you started music. You could play and sing the songs, but as you learn how to be more of a performer.
Aye, I think as I learned,
so you can do the song.
I didn't necessarily learn how to play guitar and then get to a point where I was like, I'm now good enough to go and do this. I sort of did them together.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I did them at the same time.
Like which you developed an on-stage persona with it as well, kind of thing.
Aye, over the years.
Aye.
So I suppose it is quite similar to comedy. I don't know if there is a harder one of a harder one of the two.
Nah.
They're quite similar in terms
It's the
of...
same. What's harder, a 147 or a 9 dart finish? It's like that argument, isn't it? Or a hole in one.
I don't know all these things.
Nah.
I know about the 9 darts. What's a 147?
That's a high breaking snooker.
I don't do snooker. Are we ending on that shock? I don't watch snooker.
I've learned all these biscuits are gone, and and Kris doesn't know about the 147. Plus, he's been bullying me all day.
Bullying away and shite.
see, psychological. It's passive aggressive stuff. It's like wee digs, just wee digs, wee chipping them.
You don't get Taz bars anymore, but that's just like a caramel Freddo, isn't it?
Aye, that's just like Freddo, isn't it? That's just the same thing. Right. I don't want to know anymore, Kris. It's doesn't exist anymore.
What's the one my gran talks about? No, my mum. Aspira. My mum always talks about Aspira.
Oh, they were brilliant.
Aye, they're away.
You used to be able to shoot your juice through them. You did. It was like had a hole in the middle, so you could stick your juice through it.
I saw one earlier when I was looking at these pictures, and I remember I went to the. We'll finish after this. I know you need to go. I remember once I went to the Cadbury factory in Birmingham.
Oh, no way, man!
With my mum, and they had like a wee. There's one there actually. There's a Spira.
Oh, they were brilliant.
They had a wee sort of display of discontinued things, and my mum was like, "I love them." What does it say? 2 twists of dairy milk.
They were like Twix shaped and all.
Oh, I see what you mean. It's got like a wee hole in it that you could soak through.
So good, you could actually like use it as a straw. It was like multifunctional.
I liked those. this could go way on. You used to get Cocoa Pop straws that was like a wee wafer that you would soak your bowl of milk through.
Oh, right, and
then you'd eat the wafer, the straw. That
was it made of chocolate as well?
There was like chocolate on the inside of the wafer. It was like a wee wafer.
That's how we're all fucked with health. feeding.
No wonder I look in such a way that my gran used to go. I've been to the gym because I grew up drinking milk through a chocolate straw.
Breakfast. They want no fucking diabetes and shit's happening, man.
Oh dear.
Cereal. What? Cadbury. The guy Cadbury invented breakfast and fucking fed sugar to the world. Kellogg, that guy.
I remember that.
He was a cunt.
That whole breakfast is the most important meal of the day. That's a marketing ploy from Kellogg's. I remember seeing that.
I found that out a few years ago. I was like, fucking hell, man. Brainwashed the fuck.
Aye, we could go on. We should end there.
We should end there anyway.
Thanks for watching. Remember, follow the socials and subscribe. Start leaving reviews and start commenting.
Start commenting and give us some validation, man. Because nobody care. Well, we'll get 5. I think we'll get, I don't know, 6, 7. Maybe we don't even know how many people are actually watching every week. If it's just me clicking on it every now and again, that adds up to the views. But let us know. Follow us. Come and see me at the Comedy Festival, Glasgow.
Yep. I've been putting the links for that on all the other videos, so the link's in the description.
The fuck it list.
Do you remember the dates off the top of your head? If not, I've got them.
23rd and the 28th, I think.
So that's Sleazy's on the 23rd and Blackfriars on the 28th.
Aye. Something like that. Come and see it. Enjoy.
Well,
on that, thanks for listening. And I'm really sorry about letting you know about all those chocolate bars and biscuits that no longer exist. So we'll have a minute of silence for that. But thanks for listening.
Fuck your minute of silence. Thanks for watching. Bye.